So for me, I think that the important thing here is that it's actually a use case that is real. And I think that's the main thing for all technological adoption. It's not about an ideology. It's about, are you providing value? Let's get right in. We're starting with your article this time, Warren. Tell me about Polymarket.
I think the way this came about is when I look at my news feeds the last few weeks, I can't help but notice it's almost all politics. Not as much in the news feeds lately about the latest game release or industry earnings in our little bubble of games marketing. So it got me thinking about what is actually relevant to our audience. It's also part of the public dialogue right now. And one thing I kind of noticed that kind of stuck up on me is I've been hearing more and more Polymarket referenced everywhere. So what is Polymarket? So Polymarket is a predictions market, and there's been a lot of these in the past, and they tend to get popular every election cycle. People such as, I think it was 538 is one of the teams and media sources that I think really started referencing the prediction markets a lot as an indicator that is sometimes more accurate than polling for elections and other large events. The markets tend to have a really high propensity for being right more so than polls. So
a lot of stakes.
Being that we're in a big election cycle, people have started paying attention to the prediction markets again. And quietly, the one that has emerged and seems to be most frequently referenced is Polymarket. The reason this is significant is because Polymarket is a stealth Web3 product. It's actually built on top of Polygon blockchain, which is one of Uptick's longtime partners. And it kind of just snuck its way into the narrative. So, we've been covering stuff in Web3 and we do a lot of work in Web3. And for the most part, mainstream culture and media, it's a non-topic right now. It's not even that we're in like a bear market where everyone's hating on Web3. Just no one really cares right now. And I think this sort of like net neutral view of crypto and Web3 in the space right now has kind of made this lane where an actual good idea or good product built on crypto can kind of rise up and stand on its own 2 feet without the over justification of like, this product is better because it's crypto based, but also without the intrinsic hatred that we saw like during the NFT boom of like, this game has an NFT in it, kill it with fire, I don't want anything to do with it. So I think this kind of net neutral stance right now has let Polymarket emerge. So I thought it'd be interesting to maybe give a little more background on Polymarket, shine a light on it as maybe one of the first blockchain-enabled, blockchain-powered products that is getting natural public adoption, and give our listeners a little more exposure to it. So
I had heard of Polymarket, but much like you have, I hadn't actually known that it was a Polygon product. I had no idea, right? I just heard about it in the context of a betting market and something that people like Nate Silver were referencing as part of their analysis on whether or not the election would swing one way or another. So for me, I think that the important thing here is that it's actually a use case that is real. And I think that's the main thing for all technological adoption. It's not about an ideology. It's about, are you providing value? The infrastructure of Polygon is helpful to help facilitate the betting that's happening on this platform. Then, I think it's great. And I've had a theory around a successful Web3 game will look like for a long time. We still haven't seen a ton of them. But one of the theories is it's going to be some combination of real money gambling in high skill cap games like in general. And so I think this sort of falls, I don't say neatly into that thesis, but adjacent to that thesis where it actually, if you're using the crypto as a way to facilitate commerce or gambling, which is something that it very naturally fits into because it is currency, there's a huge opportunity there. And so I think it's interesting. I learned something today, or I guess yesterday as we prepared for this. But yeah, it's a good call and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so maybe a few notes about the current state of Polymarket to catch listeners up. They did have a record trading volume of $387 million in July, and it has become more frequently just the source of reference in a lot of the most common mainstream news outlets and media outlets. So there is some controversy with Polymarket. Currently, users in the US can use the platform for looking at the data, looking at the odds, but you can't actually place a bet there. And this is because of current legal battle with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which really has nothing to do with Polymarket being a crypto-related product, but more with it being a betting product in the US market. So for a little context on that, Commodity Futures Trading Commission has proposed a rule targeting prediction markets like Polymarket, which allow betting events. CFTC argues that prediction markets could encourage immoral behavior. They also raise concerns about election interference, and economists are challenging the CFTC's position, arguing that prediction markets are generally accurate and fears of manipulation are overstated. Thank you to producer Casey for those research notes. I think this is interesting to highlight for a few reasons. Again, I think the thing that I'm most excited about is just seeing like a Web3 built product standing in its own 2 feet. And I think that blockchain, not to go into shill mode, but I think there is something to be said for any kind of betting powered products to have like the code for that be on chain and open source and verifiable. Any sort of like gambling product, I think you want to remove that from a black box for both user peace of mind and also for legal concerns. Like it's great if that can be open source and verifiable. I think the other thing worth discussing here, I looked into Polymarket and how you actually do use it, how you actually place bets there. Obviously I can't because I'm in the US.
You would never use a VPN, right? Because that is immoral.
Of course
That's
not.
immoral
What's
behavior.
a VPN? I don't even know. But the interesting thing, and this is maybe the opportunity, you still have to jump through so many hoops if you want to use this product. So I'll just read from their own help documentation. First, you have to buy USDC. And so first they have to tell you what USDC is. Polymarket trades on USDC, a federally regulated cryptocurrency backed by the US dollars. It's got to explain to you what that is. And then once you understand what USDC is, you have to buy it on a crypto exchange. So it has to explain to you what a crypto exchange is and how you buy it there. And then you go to, I have USDC. Now what? Well, now you have to figure out how to get that USDC off the exchange and not just into an Ethereum wallet, but then one step further and transfer it to the Polygon network. Now you've done all these steps, probably taken maybe days, maybe a week to verify your identity on the new exchange that you set up, maybe some money in gas fees to transfer.
You probably did a wallet, right? You probably got to the right wallet, right?
Yeah, definitely. Now you can place your first bet and have your first Web3 experience. Like this is still hot garbage, y'all. Like the products are getting better, but the user experience is still so bad for these products. So I don't know. I'm hoping that this is a bit of a forcing function of seeing that like there's natural user demand for something, becomes a forcing function to further streamline this on-ramping. And I know it's easier said than done. There's a lot of technical and legal considerations in this user onboarding, but we are seeing like a lot of improvements in some of the gaming products that we work on. Like I like to shout out Immutable Passport. I think that's a great product that's been introduced into gaming to where you can, have a crypto account, a wallet made for you by just like connecting your Gmail account without ever having to do any weird crypto stuff and take that first step. So I do think we're kind of making progress, but it's not all in the same place yet. It's like there's games that have made progress to onboarding people and creating wallets for them, but those games don't have huge adoption. And then we have a product like Polymarket that's like, hey, we figured out a really great use case for blockchain and a great product made better by blockchain, but we don't have good user onboarding in a way that you can just like put $5 in and place a bet on Kamala winning for $5,
Right.
So anyway, just a check-in on crypto and Web3 adoption, some interesting moves there. And maybe that's all we have to say on Polymarket today.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. The one last thing I'll say is like it's clearly early stage, but it's clearly getting better, right? And that's the main thing. It's like all the steps you articulated are difficult, but 10 years ago they were impossible unless you're like minting ETH and so yourself on some gas. Incremental, slow progress. We'll get there, Warren. We'll get there.
Yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this balanced diet of Uptick news content for the week. Anyway, here at Uptick, we're big gaming nerds. We live and breathe games. We love scaling games. That's what we do when we're not making podcasts, which is 99% of our time. So if you are making a great game across any technology and want good people to help you with user acquisition, creative, and the analytics, resourcing, and software behind that, reach us through our website. It's uptick.com, upptic.com.
Talk soon.